I've also replaced the ammeter that I had in this van with this. Two minds whether it's actually going to be worth bothering with or not. But the original ammeter, in order to monitor incoming current as well as outgoing current, I needed to swap the polarity of the sense wires to the shunt. If you don't know what a shunt is, it's just basically a lump of metal that has a given resistance for a known amount of current going through it, and therefore you could measure the volt drop across that piece of metal and determine how much current's flowing through it. And a typical shunt, such as the one I've got in this van, measures 75 millivolts for 100 amps of current, and therefore it's very easy to display the current being drawn. This meter uses exactly the same shunt, same value, and you can see at the moment, I think it's showing 2.41 amps coming in from the solar panels. That is actually incoming current, taking into account things that are switched on here at the moment and the fact that I've got the chassis battery charger turned on as well from solar. So that is the total of what's coming into the batteries. Therefore 34 watts even at 14 volts. You can see that the thing's currently been running for 122 hours since I reset it, and that top current there is an estimated capacity. It's going to take a while before I know whether this is actually giving me any true values or not. This is using the amp counting technique, and amp counting is very flawed. It can't take into account losses in the battery, but we'll see if it works. This unit, very, very cheap. I bought it mainly because I wanted to do a discharge test on a NAC gel battery, and it showed me that the battery had a capacity of about 30 amps compared to its original capacity of 80 odd. So I put it in here for one very specific reason. Don't have to use the switch, which was in this hole here, to toggle between input and output. I just know that at the moment that's current in. It doesn't have a minus or anything like that, so I know at the moment that's 2.3 amps coming, 2.38 amps coming in. It would be a shame if it would be nice if it actually showed in and out, but it doesn't. But I just know that we're putting in more at the moment than we are drawing, and we'll see if the gadget works. The other flaw it's got is it stops counting and measuring when the backlight's turned off, so the clock stops ramping up and the state of charge or the capacity indicator stops counting. This bar here, 100% down to flat, bit of a waste of time. That's supposed to be a state of charge indicator. I won't believe that at all. I'm more interested, because these are lead acid batteries, I'm more interested in the voltage, and that's the resting voltage, not the loaded voltage, which is the 14.1 volts at the moment. And if that's down to sort of 12 volts, 12.2 volts at rest, I know the batteries are 50% discharged. But I'm just curious to see, in theory I've got 200 amps of capacity in the batteries that I've currently got in this van, only two of them. If this thing gets anywhere near 185, 190 before it bottoms out, I'll be impressed. Gut feeling, probably a waste of time. And I'm not going to invest in a very nice quality state of charge meter in this van. I will in the other van. In this one, I've done it as cheaply as possible, and I just use it as a plaything. One other thing I've done is installed this mat. I've only cut out one at the moment. I templated this yesterday. It comes from a company there, you can see, artmat.co.uk. This is actually horse mat, but it's a nice colour green. It matches the green pretty well of the furniture, and it's just nice to walk on. The floor in this van, it's the original floor. It's a little bit grotty. It's on plywood and it's cold to the touch, so I wanted to try something else. I was going to buy some of those interlocking mats, and I think I will do that in the crafter, but for this van I bought some of this before realising that exactly the same stuff was available in the interlocking type. It's covering nicely these, whatever they are, tie downs. I've got one almost where I'm standing now. I can feel it, but it's not showing. But it's just much nicer to walk on, warmer to the feet, and it will also cover up these These are the original stretcher mountings. They protrude from the floor by about 4 or 5 mil. It'll cover those nicely. They get wet. Condensation, because there's no, effectively no insulation there. They're straight through underneath the vehicle. They are cold bridges, so they get wet. So when we're not using those, this mat will cover that up. I've got another piece that I need to cut up, which will go almost to the aluminium rail at the back of the door. It'd be about an inch short. These are 6 foot 5, 4 foot mats by the time I've templated it. That's just a bit of an offcut. We'll probably stick that in the shower or as a doormat. But I wanted to cover these metal things up simply because they are cold on your toes in the morning. We do use them though, so there are 2 under here which I will make a hole for, because we use those to tie the dogs down with. We put their leads on, and I just use a couple of carabiner clamps on the original bolts. Very, very convenient for tying the dogs down, so they're quite useful. I've also strapped the dog cage down with them. But there you go. That's the latest inside edition. Nice bit of foam. It's 10 mil thick. Cuts beautifully with a Stanley knife. I only had to, once I templated this with cardboard, I think I had to tweak it a little bit. I've noticed it's bowed a bit. The heat's got to that area. I may have to cut back a little bit more because it is bowing up slightly. So I may have to just relieve it slightly, but I'd rather have made it too big than too small. What else have I done? Oh, there you go. That is the sensor in my water tank. We didn't have a water level sensor originally. Didn't think I'd need it. Soon learned I did. It's wired up in parallel with the water pump. So when the water pump's on, so is the gauge. The gauge, there it is. The gauge is there. It's not bad. 16, 17 pounds I think on eBay. It's good. My water tank is directly underneath this wooden lid, so I could have hollowed the wood out slightly, just to allow clearance, but I thought, no, let's make a feature of it. And it also allows a bit of ventilation into that area as well. I've got heater pipes in there and everything else, so that it is heated and the water tank won't go cold. The water tank shouldn't freeze, but I thought might be an idea if there's any condensation building up in the tank to ventilate it. So that grill there, which is one of the grills out of the Crafter, was originally on the heater, that covers the hole I've had to make for this sensor, and it gives you that sort of, I don't know, steampunky, it gives it a look as well. Right, now I will stop waffling because I don't think there's anything else to show you in here.